Section 25 of The Life of Samuel Johnson, Volume 1. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, visit LibriVox.org. Read by Janice in Georgia. The Life of Samuel Johnson, Volume 1, by James Boswell. Section 25. 1762, Etat 53. In 1762 he wrote for the Reverend Dr. Kennedy, rector of Bradley in Derbyshire, in a strain of very courtly elegance, a dedication to the king of that gentleman's work, entitled A Complete System of Astronomical Chronology Unfolding the Scriptures. He had certainly looked at this work before it was printed, for the concluding paragraph is undoubtedly of his composition, of which let my readers judge. Thus have I endeavoured to free religion and history from the darkness of a disputed and uncertain chronology, from difficulties which have hitherto appeared insuperable, and darkness which no luminary of learning has hitherto been able to dissipate. I have established the truth of the Mosaical account by evidence which no transcription can corrupt, no negligence can lose, and no interest can pervert. I have shown that the universe bears witness to the inspiration of its historian by the revolution of its orbs and the succession of its seasons, that the stars in their courses fight against incredulity, that the works of God give hourly confirmation to the law, the prophets, and the gospel, of which one day telleth another, and one night certifieth another, and that the validity of the sacred writings can never be denied while the moon shall increase and wane, and the sun shall know his going down. He this year wrote also the dedication to the Earl of Middlesex of Mrs. Lennox's Female Quixote, and the preface to the catalogue of the artist's exhibition. The following letter, which, on account of its intrinsic merit, it would have been unjust both to Johnson and the public to have withheld, was obtained for me by the solicitation of my friend Mr. Seward. To Dr. Staunton, now Sir George Staunton, Baronet. Dear Sir, I make haste to answer your kind letter in hope of hearing again from you before you leave us. I cannot but regret that a man of your qualifications should find it necessary to seek an establishment in Guadeloupe, which, if a peace should restore to the French, I shall think it some alleviation of the loss that it must restore likewise Dr. Staunton to the English. It is a melancholy consideration that so much of our time is necessarily to be spent upon the care of the living, and that we can seldom obtain ease in one respect but by resigning it in another. Yet I suppose we are by this dispensation not less happy in the whole than if the spontaneous bounty of nature poured all that we want into our hands. A few, if they were thus left to themselves, would, perhaps, spend their time in laudable pursuits, but the greater part would prey upon the quiet of each other, or, in the want of other objects, would prey upon themselves. This, however, is our condition, which we must improve and solace as we can, and though we cannot choose always our place of residence, we may in every place find rational amusements, and possess in every place the comforts of piety and a pure conscience. In America there is little to be observed except natural curiosities. The New World must have many vegetables and animals with which philosophers are but little acquainted. I hope you will furnish yourself with some books of natural history, and some glasses and other instruments of observation. Trust as little as you can to report. Examine all you can by your own senses. I do not doubt but you will be able to add much to knowledge and, perhaps, to medicine. Wild nations trust to simples, and perhaps the Peruvian bark is not the only specific which those extensive regions may afford us. Wherever you are, and whatever be your fortune, be certain, dear sir, that you carry with you my kind wishes, and that whether you return hither, or stay in the other hemisphere, to hear that you are happy will give pleasure to, sir, your most affectionate humble servant, Samuel Johnson, June 1st, 1762. A lady having at this time solicited him to obtain the Archbishop of Canterbury's patronage to have her son sent to the university, one of those solicitations which are too frequent, where people, anxious for a particular object, do not consider propriety, or the opportunity which the persons whom they solicit have to assist them, he wrote to her the following answer, with a copy of which I am favoured by the Reverend Dr. Farmer, Master of Emmanuel College, Cambridge. Madam, I hope you will believe that my delay in answering your letter could proceed only from my unwillingness to destroy any hope that you had formed. Hope is itself a species of happiness, and perhaps the chief happiness which this world affords. But, like all other pleasures immoderately enjoyed, the excesses of hope must be expiated by pain, and expectations improperly indulged must end in disappointment. If it be asked, what is the improper expectation which it is dangerous to indulge, experience will quickly answer that it is such expectation as is dictated not by reason, but by desire; expectation raised not by the common occurrences of life, but by the wants of the expectant; an expectation that requires the common course of things to be changed, and the general rules of action to be broken. When you made your request to me, you should have considered, madam, what you were asking. You ask me to solicit a great man, to whom I never spoke, for a young person whom I had never seen, upon a supposition which I had no means of knowing to be true. There is no reason why, amongst all the great, I should choose to supplicate the Archbishop, nor why, among all the possible objects of his bounty, the Archbishop should choose your son. I know, madam, how unwillingly conviction is admitted when interest opposes it. But surely, madam, you must allow that there is no reason why that should be done by me which every other man may do with equal reason, and which, indeed, no man can do properly without some very particular relation both to the Archbishop and to you. If I could help you in this exigence by any proper means, it would give me pleasure. But this proposal is so very remote from all usual methods that I cannot comply with it, but at the risk of such answer and suspicions as I believe you do not wish me to undergo. I have seen your son this morning. He seems a pretty youth, and will, perhaps, find some better friend than I can procure him. But though he should at last miss the university, he may still be wise, useful, and happy. I am, madam, your most humble servant, Samuel Johnson. June 8, 1762. To Mr. Joseph Baretti, at Milan. London, July 20, 1762. Sir, however justly you may accuse me for want of punctuality in correspondence, I am not so far lost in negligence as to omit the opportunity of writing to you, which Mr. Beauclerk's passage through Milan affords me. I suppose you received the Idlers, and I intend that you shall soon receive Shakespeare, that you may explain his works to the ladies of Italy, and tell them the story of the editor, among the other strange narratives with which your long residence in this unknown region has supplied you. As you have now been long